Hello students, I am Siddharth Thapa. We were learning costing. We had concluded the first chapter, cost of materials. Today we will be starting with the second chapter, cost of labor. As you know, for a manufacturing concern, the cost of labor plays a very important part in determining the cost of production of a product. So, different measures are taken for considering the labor cost. So, before we start this chapter, today we will be dealing with certain topics like timekeeping, time booking, idle time, and methods of wage calculations. The first topic I would like to deal with is timekeeping. So what is timekeeping? Timekeeping is nothing but the attendance of the workers. It is recording their time of arrival and their time of departure from the factory. As its meaning, it indicates the function of recording in an appropriate and correct method of the time of attendance of the workers and employees of the entity. In simple words, timekeeping is the function of recording the time of coming in and going out of the factory of all the workers and employees engaged in the production process of an entity. So how it is done is that when the workers arrive at the gate of the factory, there are certain clerks or certain officials who record their attendance. They record their arrivals, and at the end of the day, they also record their departures. So this process is called timekeeping. So the next part we would like to discuss is time booking. So time booking, what it does, it records how much time is spent by a worker in the factory doing work in certain jobs or processes. So this actually calculates that when a worker enters the premises of a factory, it does not mean he spends all the time in his works. Sometimes a worker has to jump from one job to another job for different works. So the total time spent working in the factory is recorded, and that is called time booking. As its meaning, time booking is a process of determination of time spent by a worker for the completion of a job, process, or work related to the production. Or in other words, time booking is the method of determination and recording of different jobs completed by a worker with the time spent to complete those works while engaging himself in the work of the factory. So let's take for example, a worker A arrives at 9 a.m. and departs at 4 p.m. According to timekeeping, work, he has worked 7 hours in the day. But let's say when he arrives A at 9 a.m., he does a particular job, let's say first job, say till 12 p.m. Again, he finishes the job at 12 p.m. and he jumps to another job, let's say second job at 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. Then after 1 p.m., let's say he takes a lunch break of 1 hour, 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. and he resumes another job, third job, from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. So according to timekeeping, he has worked for 7 hours, but according to time booking, he has worked for, in the first job, 3 hours, in the second job, 1 hour, during lunch break, he didn't work, and during the third job, he worked for 2 hours. So according to time booking, he has worked for 3 plus 1, 4, 5 and 6 hours. So the time kept for him was 7 hours, but his time booked was 6 hours. So there is a difference between time keeping and time booking. So let's say, according to timekeeping, he worked for 7 hours. According to time booking, he has worked for 6 hours. So for 1 hour, what he has done? He has taken a lunch break. So during this time, he has not worked. So the time which he has not worked is called idle time. So we come to the third point, idle time. So what is idle time? It is the time for which the worker is paid, but the worker does not work for those periods. So idle time, it is the time for which employees are paid, but for which they are not doing actual work. It is basically the unproductive time of the employees for which they are still compensated. Again, idle time can be classified into normal idle time and abnormal idle time. What is normal idle time? The idle time, normal idle time are unavoidable idle time. Like for example, lunch break, tea break, time taken from going from one job to another job, time taken from going from the factory gate to the jobs. These are normal idle times. These cannot be avoided under any circumstances. But abnormal idle time, these are idle times which occurs due to unnatural reasons. Let's say like strikes, lockouts. This creates abnormal idle time. These can be avoided to a certain limit. So we have completed the 3 points: timekeeping, time booking and idle time. So we go to the next point again. Another crucial factor for any manufacturing concern is fixation of wages. Wages can be fixed in various types of methods. We'll be doing this part by part. So we'll be starting with the first method, number 1. Straight piece rate method. Under straight piece rate method, the wages are paid on the basis of units produced by the workers. A certain rate is fixed by the concern and it will be multiplied by the number of units manufactured or produced by the employees. This is one of the oldest method of remuneration. So under this method, the system of wage payment, wages are paid to the workers at a specified rate for the production on unit basis or the completion of a particular job or process of production. Under this method, wages are paid to the workers on the basis of quantity or units produced by them in the factory at a predetermined rate. So, under this method, wages equals units produced multiplied by rate per unit. This is one of the oldest and preferable methods of wage calculations because it has got certain advantages. Like first advantage, it is very simple. Due to its simplicity, the workers easily understand, the chances of confusion and disputes are also reduced. Because more or less the workers are not highly educated, so the method of calculation of wages should not also be complicated. This creates confusion among the workers and disputes may arise. But being a very simple method, the workers can easily understand and it brings about certain level of confidence in the workers. Another advantage is that it encourages high productivity. In order to earn more wages, the workers tend to produce more. With more productivity, the cost per unit of the product is decreased. So, with productivity, the cost price can be reduced. Again, another advantage is that for efficient workers, they are rewarded very well. Efficient workers tend to produce more. With higher production, their wages also increases simultaneously. Again, another advantages for this method is that it discourages idle time. Since the workers are being paid for their productivity, the idle time of the concern decreases considerably. So these were the advantages. But again, advantages. The first disadvantage, what they face is that in order to produce more, the quality of the product is compromised. So due to higher production, the quality of the product may decrease. Again, another disadvantage this method faces that there is no minimum guaranteed wages for inefficient workers. For efficient workers, there is a reward of higher wages, but for inefficient workers, there is no minimum guaranteed wage. Sometimes it may happen that new workers who are inefficient may not earn a single rupee even though they work throughout the day. So this is the main advantage of this method of remuneration. Again, another disadvantage is that the machineries, the equipments, the materials, they tend to get wasted. Why? Due to hurried work or due to high level of productivity, the machineries, they are used haphazardly. The materials, they are wasted considerably. So, in this method of remuneration, this machinery gets depreciated very quickly. Again, let's go to next point. Due to the incentive of higher wages, the workers tend to work for long hours continuously. What happens that during in the long run, the health of these workers also deteriorates. So these were the advantages and disadvantages of straight P-straight system of wage payment. So I have a question here. You have to calculate the wages of workers A and B under straight P-straight system. Rate per unit is rupees 2. There are two workers A and B who have produced 200 units and 300 units respectively. So under straight piece rate system, wages should equal units produced into rate per unit. So wages of A equals A has produced 200 units into rate per unit is rupees 2. So his wages for the day will be rupees 400. Again, wages of B. B has produced 300 units into rate per unit 2 equals rupees 600. So it's very simple. Wages under straight piece rate equals unit produced into rate per unit. You'll be given the number of units produced as well as the rate per unit. Again, I have a next question for you. Under this question, you have to calculate wages of B and C under straight piece rate system. Rate per hour. Now listen, it is rate per hour, not rate per unit. Rate of hour is rupees 6 rupees per hour. Standard output per hour is 3 units. And A and B has produced 100 units and 200 units respectively. Since we were using the formula wages equals units produced into rate per unit. So what we have in the question is rate per hour, not rate per unit. So how do we convert rate per hour into rate per unit? There is a small calculation. Let's say rate per unit equals rate per hour divided by standard output per hour. So when we calculate rate per unit from rate per hour, it should be rate per hour divided by standard output per hour, which equals rate per hour is rupees 6, standard output per hour is 3 units. That means per unit is rupees 2. So we have derived rate per unit from this formula. So we shall apply this rate per unit in this problem. So wages of B equals B has produced 100 units into rate per unit is 2 equals rupees 200, and wages of C equals wages C has produced 200 units into rate per unit rupees 2. So rupees 400. So students, you take notice of this formula also. There are times when you have to convert rate per unit into rate per hour into rate per unit. So this was your solution. So please take a look at the solution. Now we again have a next question for you. In this question, look at the question carefully. You have to calculate the wages of workers X and Y under straight piece rate method. The problem is X was allowed 5 hours and Y 6 hours to do a job. The time allowed is given, but how many units did they produce during those hours? It is not provided. Again, another problem is rate per hour is rupees 40 per hour. In this case also, rate per hour, time rate is given, but piece rate has not been provided. So we were using the formula wages equals units produced into rate per unit. However, in this problem, we cannot use this formula because first, number of units produced, it has not been provided. We cannot in any way calculate number of units produced. Again, secondly, rate per unit has not also been given, rate per hour is given. We cannot also calculate rate per unit in this case because standard output has not been given also. So how do we go about this problem? So we have to assume certain things, that we have to assume that the workers, since they are being provided wages under piece rate system, we have to assume they are utilizing the whole time which they have been allowed. So we use an alternative formula in this case, which should be time allowed into rate per hour. So using this formula, wages of X equals time allowed, X was allowed 5 hours, into rate per hour, rupees 40 equals rupees 200. Wages of Y equals, Y was provided with 6 hours into 40 equals rupees 240. So students, please note this alternative formula also. Under straight piece rate method, sometimes when number of units is not provided, rate per unit also is not provided, instead they provide you with time allowed. So the formula which you will use is time allowed into rate per hour. Okay, we have briefly described the first method, straight piece rate method. Now the second method, ordinary time rate method. This is also one of the most oldest and most preferable method of wage payment. So under this method, the wages are calculated on the basis of certain predetermined rate on the number of hours worked by the employees. So under this method, wages are paid to the workers at a predetermined rate for the time spent by them in the factory. The time rate may be on the basis of per hour, per day, per week, or even per month. So on piece rate method, the wages were being paid on the basis of units produced, but on the time rate method, wages are paid on the basis of time worked by the workers. So again, this method has got certain advantages, like number one advantage is minimum guaranteed wage is fixed. So even inefficient workers, even though if they do not produce a single unit during the day, since they have worked for the day, they have worked for certain hours, there will be a certain minimum guaranteed wage for them. Another advantage is that due to its simplicity also, the trade unions, they also accept this as the most preferable method of remuneration. Again, another quality this method has is that it does not discriminate between efficient workers and inefficient workers. The efficient workers are also paid on the same rate, as well as the inefficient workers, they are also paid on the same time rate fixed by the concern. This method is again preferable for the employees also. Due to its simplicity, like I said, it's very simple. The workers have full confidence on this method of remuneration. Another disadvantage it gains is that there will be no extra clerical work for the concern. So, no other clerks or any other officials are to be deputed for this purpose of wage calculations. So, it becomes very economical for the business concern too. Apart from its advantages, they have got certain disadvantages also. First disadvantage they face very gravely, I say, is that it becomes an injustice to the efficient workers. Even though they are efficient, there will be no extra monetary incentive for the efficient workers. They will be paid at par alongside with the inefficient workers. Again, this method also fails to evaluate the efficiency of the workers. So what happens in the long run is that those efficient workers tend to become inefficient in the long run. This method, another disadvantage this method has is that it encourages idle time. Since the number of units the workers produce are not being considered, they tend to take more time in the work of their concern. So they take extra time, which is idle time, and this idle time accumulates to be unproductive. So these were the advantages and disadvantages of ordinary time rate system. So under this method, wages are calculated as time taken into rate per time. It may be rate per hour, rate per day, rate per week, rate per month, anything. So the formula for this method of remuneration is time taken into rate per time. So we have a question under ordinary time rate method. Look at the question carefully. Calculate the wages of A and B. There are two workers, A and B. Under ordinary time rate method, time allowed by the concern is 8 hours per day. During a particular day, A and B worked for 6 hours and 7 hours respectively. The rate per hour is rupees 10 per hour. So we were using the formula wages equals time taken into rate per hour. So wages of A should equal, like you see, time allowed by the concern is 8 hours. So 8 hours has been provided. They have been allowed to work for 8 hours, but they have completed the work in 6 hours and 7 hours. So they have worked, or they have taken time for 6 hours and 7 hours only, and respectively, simultaneously, correspondingly, they will be given wages for 6 hours and 7 hours only. So wages of A, time taken is 6 hours into rate is fixed, predetermined rate is 10 equals rupees 60, and wages of B equals, B has taken 7 hours, rate is 10 equals rupees 70. Okay, we'll wrap up for today. We have completed 2 methods. We will learn the next methods in the future classes. Thank you.